get started, you want to take your button and your longest cord, and I'm going to thread the longest cord diagonally on this button, and then I want to match up the ends and then pull the button until it's in the centre. And then I want to take one of my shortest cords and I'm going to thread this on at the top, and then instead of going diagonally I'm just going to thread it through the other side at the bottom. And for this one I just want to pull out a long enough tail end so that I can attach the button to the top of the board and the cord to the bottom of the board, so about a foot. And then I want to do the same thing with the other cord at the other side. So once you've threaded all your cords onto your button and attached your button to the top of the board, you should have a long cord on the outside at each side, and you should have your shortest cords next to that outside cord, and then two of your longer cords again in the middle. So to get started, I'm going to thread all my beads onto this cord and onto this cord before I get started, just to make it a bit quicker as I'm going along. So once you've added your beads to both of your short cords, it should look something like this. So I've clipped them in place just to stop the beads falling off the end as I'm working. So to begin the bracelet, I'm going to be doing a square knot over all the cords with the two outside cords. So I want to go over and then under here and pull through. And then under and pull this under, and then go over these and through. And you can do a couple of square knots if you want, but one will keep everything in place as you're working. So once you've done however many square knots you want, you can go to the next part of your pattern, which is the main part. So you're going to take these cords in the centre and you're going to be working with one at a time. So whichever one you're going to be working over, you want to clip to the correct side. So I'm going to start at this side. So I want to take this long cord from the centre, this one clipped with the short cord, and I want to do another square knot. So this time your square knot's missing out these ones. And because I'm using fairly wide beads, which are going to be up at this side, I'm going to do two square knots here. So once you've done that side, you want to take the bead from this side and then take this cord that's on the outside and thread this into the bead as well. And once you've done that, you can push the bead up into place, and then you want to take this cord here that you just did your square knot with at this side, and you want to clip this with this short cord to the bottom of the board. And then you're going to undo the long cord from this side and then clip your short cord back, and now you're going to do a square knot at this side like you did at this side. And again, I'm doing two square knots because of the size of my bead, but if you're using smaller beads you might only need to do one square knot here. So once you've done that, you can take the bead at the other side and push that up there, and then take your longer cord and just thread that onto the bead as well. And then you can push it the rest of the way, and then you want to put your cords back into the position you were at in the beginning. So you want to take this cord and attach it to the bottom of the board with your other short cord, and then release this long cord so that you can use it to make your next square knot at the other side. So like you did before, you want to do two square knots at this side. And once you've done that, you can push your next bead up into place and then thread on the other cord. And once it's done, you can push it the rest of the way. And then you want to repeat what you did when you swapped over the last time. So you're just going to keep swapping positions for your square knots and your beads each time until you get the bracelet as long as you want it. So once you've got your last bead in place, you can unclip your cords from the bottom of the board, and then you want to split them into two sections. So I'm going to start with this section. So I want to take the outside cord and put it to one side, and then clip the remaining two back to the bottom of the board. And then I want to take this outside cord and I want to go over and pull through, and then under and pull through. And I want to keep repeating these knots until I've got a big enough space for my button. Now, how many knots you do for that will depend on the size of your button, so it's a good idea to measure as you go along. And once you've done this side, you want to do the exact same thing at the other side. So once you've done the knots at both sides, you can remove your clip from the bottom of the board, and then you want to take all the cords in the centre and leave these two free. You want to clip these back to the bottom of the board, and then to fasten your buttonhole you can just do a couple of square knots. So once you're satisfied that it's nice and secure, you can remove your bracelet from the board. And then you want to trim and seal any excess. So I'm going to use a lighter to seal here, but you could use glue if you preferred. And once you've finished, you should end up with something that looks like this. So now you just want to try on your bracelet. And that is your completed bracelet.